Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Today we have a very special guest that many of you may know, Dan Ferguson. Good morning. How are you today, sir?
I'm doing very well. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, glad to have you. So if you can, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, born and raised here in Huntington. Spent my entire education here in Huntington. Only time I lived outside of Huntington was when I was in the military. I did spend some time in the military outside, but I returned immediately, and I love Huntington. I'm not going anywhere. I'm staying here, and my whole career has been in the downtown Huntington area.
Great. Now, what branch of military were you in?
United States Coast Guard, 1967 to 1973, during the Vietnam era. Didn't go to Vietnam. Coast Guard wasn't over there at that time, but we were able to manage the navigation areas in the country.
Wow, that's outstanding. So I tell you, what was your childhood like? Any memories that really kind of stand out from your beginnings and things like that?
You know, in looking at things today and the way the lifestyle is today, what really stands out when I was a young child is coming home from school at 3 o'clock, putting my books on a table, changing clothes, and immediately going across the street to the field, meeting all the guys, playing football or softball or basketball or whatever the sport was at the time, spending all that time until 5:30 when my father would arrive home and he would come out on the porch and I knew it was time for dinner. So I would have to excuse myself, go to dinner, get that done, and go back and play till the street lights came on, then go in and do my homework and go to bed. Those were good times. Those were fun times. You spent time with friends. You didn't have, obviously, no pagers, no cell phones, no issues other than just being a normal person, having fun, and growing up in a great community. We didn't have a lot of crime issues. We didn't have the issues we have today with, obviously, the drug climate, which has changed outside activity quite a bit.
Yeah.
But to sum up my childhood, just being able to be free and enjoying my friends and doing things that kids should be doing, riding bikes and being a little mischievous and doing things maybe you shouldn't do, but on a real low scale.
Yeah.
But I enjoyed my childhood. It was a great time in my life.
Yeah, it reminds me a lot of my childhood, too. We did the same things. I remember those times like it was just yesterday, and I tell my daughter about it all the time. Everybody's so caught up into iPads and phones and doing all this other stuff, and yeah, I just miss going out and just being a kid, playing all those fun things. We played ball every day. We were always just doing everything. So I like that old school stuff there. What did you want to be when you were a kid?
You know, when I was young, we had a family in Williamson, Ohio. That was my mother's sister, and we would go to Williamson on the weekends and spend time. At that time, my uncle was a coal miner, and I can remember with my cousins playing out in the front yard. There wasn't any grass. It was all coal dust. And we had our little cars and trucks, and we built little cities. But I remember seeing Uncle Frank come home from work, and all you could see was his white teeth and his eyes. He was covered in coal dust,
Yeah.
and I thought that was really unbelievable. He, of course, would go in and take a bath and shower and clean up and be a normal person after that. But he also, in Williamson, was a constable. A constable at that time was a law enforcement officer that had arrest powers, and what they did was they served warrants. So if you had an issue and you went to the courthouse and signed a warrant, warrant would be issued to the constable, and he would serve it. Well, he had his own personal car, and he had a red Kojak. I call them Kojak lights, a little twirling red light, teardrop we called them, magnetic that would stick on that, and he had that in his car, and he, of course, had a badge, no uniform. So when they would come to visit us in Huntington, I'd see that light sitting on his dash, and I'd see that badge, and I always remembered that. I'd go to sleep thinking about that badge, and I thought, I just may want to do something like that someday. And the opportunity came for me to apply for the Huntington Police Department in 1970, where 504 of us took the test. They hired 5 of us out of the 504. And I started my career with Huntington Police Department in 1970. And I guess I can sum up by saying I think I wanted to be a law enforcement officer.
Yeah, absolutely. Can you share a defining moment in your life that kind of really just shaped your perspective?
I think as I went through my career, there were ups and downs. There were times that I was intrigued. There was times that I was disgusted. There was times that I wanted to quit. There was times that I wanted to try to do better. So there was a lot of variables, and I had to pick and choose which I really wanted to proceed with. But whatever I did, I got up the next day and went to work.
Yeah.
And I grew up in a regimented type family, good parents, but you ate dinner at the same time, you went to bed at the same time, you watched TV together, you prayed together, you went to church together. It was very regimented. So I felt like my life should be like that, and I tried to establish that through the years as going with my family and my children. I tried to establish that, but we can do the best we can, but times change.
Sure.
And when they change, your children's attitudes and mannerisms change. Life itself changes. Habits change.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So, we're away from that regiment of family now, obviously. Everybody is going in all kinds of different directions. But, I just wanted to make my family the way I grew up, and that I did it the best I could.
Sure. Absolutely. Who has been the most influential person in your life, you would say?
As I was going through my career, I hit and miss with politics. I knew people, and some people would want to run for office or were in office and would ask me if I wanted to help do this or that, and I did. I always was willing to help my friends or anybody that needed help. And, I got to looking around at politics and how it worked, and I got to tell you, politics is a blood sport.
Yeah, it is. Isn't it?
It's not an easy deal.
No, not at all.
But I got interested in it, and the one person that sticks out in my mind that probably influenced me to reach out to politics. I did run for magistrate, got elected. I ran for mayor, but I got defeated. Was Bobby Nelson.
Okay.
Bobby Nelson was elected our first strong mayor.
Right.
We were a city manager at the time, and he became the first strong city mayor. And I was involved in his inauguration as a police officer with security, and he and I kind of hit it off. That time I was doing other things in Huntington, our regatta, Summerfest, and putting together events. And one day he called me in his office and asked if I would like to be the chief's assistant, and he wanted to detach me from the police department and work a little bit out of his office, and I did. And so bottom line, Bobby Nelson is the one that kind of said, Dan, you need to be in politics.
Yeah.
He didn't physically say it, but it happened. And so he influenced my direction in that area.
Well, that's big time, yeah, and what a great person to do it. So since you mentioned it, tell us a little bit about your days with the regatta. I don't think people have any idea how influential you were with this.
Well, back when Harris Riverfront was being developed, there was an organization called the NPA, the National Powerboat Association. Mm-hmm. They did powerboat racing on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday in Huntington. They launched at the old 10th Street docks, and it was just boat racing, nothing else. No carnival, no concessions, just boat racing. And I was involved in an organization called the Tri-State Fair and Regatta. It was Ohio, Kentucky, and West Virginia. There were 15 board of directors from each state. They got together every month and put events together. We were doing some events in Huntington, go-kart racing, things like that. Mm-hmm. And when Harris got developed, a friend of mine who has passed since, a very close friend, Charlie Beaver, and I were talking one day, and we saw the field in Harris Park and all this new concrete. And I said, during the boat races next year, why don't we put a big top tent up in the field and throw some entertainment in there, maybe get beer license and a concession and sell
Sure.
some stuff and make it so that people have something else to do along with the racing.
Right.
And we did, and it was a success.
Yeah.
That was in 81. In 82, we rented a parkboard stage and put it facing west, where the normal Summerfest stage always was. And we put some bands, local bands out there, and it got better, more crowds. So we extended it to 10 days and started summer. It first was called Super Summerfest. And after going into the third year, we just called it Summerfest. And we built a decent stage and started getting some higher level entertainment in. Bottom line, by 89 and 90 and 91, we were putting probably 12 to 15,000 people a night in that field for high-level entertainment. Patti LaBelle, the Commodores, Righteous Brothers, Lee Greenwood, Four Tops. I mean,
Awesome.
I've got all those at home. This was big money, and we were all volunteers. And at the end of my term, when I resigned in '96, we were running between 325 and 350 volunteers. People would take their vacation to work Summerfest. They'd do anything for a hat, a T-shirt, and a credential. Mm-hmm. Of course, we threw out some product for them to drink. We never let them get thirsty. We never let them get hungry. So there were some incidentals there that made you want to come, but it was just so much fun. It was a major event. We had jet ski racing on the first weekend, powerboat on the second, $25,000 fireworks each Saturday night. We had an event in the amphitheater or on the water every evening, car shows. Crank it up things from Pied Piper where they used to blow the windshields out of their cars. I mean, we had carnivals. We had the bungee at the end. I mean, it was just a major undertaking, but it was all volunteer, and we all loved it. We had what a friend of mine calls fire in the belly. We wanted it done, and we got it done. Yeah. And I resigned in '96. It lasted 3 more years. It reduced to a 5-day event, a 3-day event, and then it just went away. It requires a certain person with drive to make something like that happen. It doesn't just happen. I can honestly tell you, I worked every day of the year on Summerfest.
Sure.
Of some level, either talking to somebody about something or buying some 2x4s or whatever it took, and it paid off in the end. But the city really benefited from it. Several years I checked the B&O taxes on the quarters, and the quarter that Summerfest was in, the third quarter, was higher than all the other 3 quarters put together.
Oh, I believe it.
For B&O taxes in the city. Parking, restaurants, motel, retail, you name it. Yeah. It was just huge. It was huge, and it was a lot of fun.
It sounds like it. I remembered as a child, and growing up through the years, and we couldn't wait. I mean, it was better than any. You see these county fairs and all this stuff. It didn't hold even a candle compared to that. I mean, it was such a great time.
At least twice a month, I'll have an old friend of mine or somebody come by, and they'll say, "Dan, when's the regatta coming back?"
Sure.
At least twice a month still.
I guarantee it. Yeah.
And, it's not going to come back the way it was.
Right.
The economy is different. I would walk into, for instance, I had WTCR gave me $25,000, Pepsi $25,000, Budweiser $45,000. I mean, right there is close to $100,000.
Yeah.
Just with 3 sponsors. Of course, we paid them dividends. They got VIP passes, they got banners, they got exposed. A lot of marketing went with those packages.
Has to.
And but it worked out real well. It really did.
Yeah, good memories there. So I tell you, what are some values that you hold, and where did they come from?
I believe in honesty. I believe in friendship. Mm-hmm. I believe in helping people, but I will add to that by saying I want you to help yourself also.
Absolutely.
I will help you all I can as long as I see you trying also.
Right.
I'm not just going to give you everything and walk away and let you relapse into whatever you're doing. Mm-hmm. That's like the drug epidemic that we're dealing with. These people need help. There's no question about it. They made bad decisions. They can't help it. They're addicted, and they need help. But there's nothing to say that they can't help themselves also.
Correct. Yeah.
So, that's an important part of my life is I've helped people since 1970. And what is this, 25? And I think I'm still helping people the best I can. Yeah. So I think that's a quality that a lot of us really need to have.
I agree 100% on that. What do you think motivates you to keep going when times do get tough?
Well, I hate to tell my age, but I'm not a young man anymore. I have retired twice. Mm-hmm. Both times I've retired, something has come around that has intrigued me. Has been something that I cock my head and say, man, I'd like to deal with that. I want to make a difference.
Right.
And I jump in and I do it. It's like now I just took on a full-time job, a job that not a lot of people want. but I know I can make a difference, and we are making progress.
Absolutely will, yeah.
And I just like to see that happen.
I love it. You've done a great job also in your position at this time. I know it was kind of not the way you wanted it to go, and now you've gone with this different situation, and you've turned it into just an outstanding situation. So I appreciate that.
Thank you. Well, when I decided to run for mayor, my wife was iffy on it. She says, "Do you really want all that responsibility?"
Yeah.
I immediately said, "Yes,
Right.
I do. I want it.
Because you want to help people.
I want it. I
Right.
want to. I love this city. I'm not happy with the condition of this city. I think we all can realize what's going on.
Sure.
And somebody has to start turning it around. It's not going to happen overnight, but somebody has to start.
Right.
And that's what I wanted to do. And when I lost, it was pretty devastating. Nobody wants to lose,
Sure.
and
Yeah.
I really felt like I had a good shot. The three people that did go up further beyond the primary all called me to a meeting asking for my help to get them elected, and I had a choice to make as to who to go with. And of course, I chose Mayor Farrell. He and I campaigned on the very same issues.
Yeah.
He has a military background. I do. He's pro-police. Public safety is number one.
Absolutely.
And I jumped on his bandwagon. I helped him get elected, and he chose to ask me if I would come into his administration. Another full-time job when I should be retired.
Yeah.
Fishing, but I don't fish. Hunting, but I don't hunt.
Right.
Golfing, but I can't golf anymore. So what am I going to do? How many houses can you paint? How many walls can you paint? So
Right.
I said, yeah, let's go back to work. So
Yeah.
I'm excited about what I'm doing.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, you and the mayor have worked very well together. So let's get now more into more of your work scene instead of more so personal. How did you navigate your career path to reach your current position?
I don't know that I actually navigated it. I just think it evolved
Sure.
from one thing to another. Well, when I accomplished, I'm a type of person that status quo doesn't get it. I think you can always make things better.
Right.
I think you can always change people's lives so that they're happier, they're doing better for themselves. And somebody has to look around and see what you have to do to make that happen. And that's part of what I wanted to do, was to get involved with the city. Of course, my job is the sober living homes. I'm to look out after them, to see what's going on with them, to see if they're compliant with finances, see if they're compliant with the city with code. And my job is to go to them with a team of experts to inspect them. And when we find violations, we talk to them about it. We give them a certain amount of time to correct those things. And we go back and do follow-up. To me, follow-up is key.
Absolutely.
If
yeah.
you don't do follow-up and there's no consequences for your actions, then why should I do anything about it if they're not going to come back?
Right.
So we're making some real progress with this.
Yeah, I agree. And I know you and Jan have worked together quite a bit on this. She's been a great asset as well.
Yes, Jan has a tremendous amount of knowledge, but she had no help. She was kind of on her own, trying to get things done, but didn't have really a lot of people backing her up. And when I came on, we really weren't assigned to work together. We just started working together.
Yeah.
And next thing you know, it worked out. I mean, she has a lot of knowledge, and I brought to her some enforcement ability that she didn't have available to her.
Sure.
I mean, I don't hesitate to tell you what you have to do. I don't hesitate to tell you what's wrong. I don't hesitate to give you a certain amount of time to fix something. That's my background. I have a strong background in that area. And so we're really salt and pepper. We work well together.
Yeah, kind of a good cop, bad cop situation.
She's a good cop. I'm the bad cop. Let
Yeah.
there be no question.
That's right. So what's a lesson you wished you had learned earlier in life?
I wouldn't take. I don't know that I'd take anything back.
Sure.
I like everything that happened to me. The one thing I wish I had done is finished college.
Yeah.
I'm about 15 hours short. I went, of course, out of high school, then military kicked in, Vietnam, you had 2 arms, 2 legs, you got drafted.
Right.
They didn't care if you was in school or what you were. You went to the military. And that knocked me out for a while. Then I came back, got on the police department. I went back to school, I think 3 times when I was on the department. I even went back when I was the correctional administrator for the county. And
Wow.
And I was 50 years old then. I was the old guy in the classroom with all these young kids. It was kind of comical.
Yeah.
They made fun of me, and I made fun of them. I told them they didn't know nothing. I knew everything. But they thought they knew everything, and I knew nothing.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
anyhow. But I wish I would have graduated from college, and the reason would be for my dad.
Sure.
Yeah,
Personal goal.
personal goal.
What personality trait would someone need to be successful in the job you have right now?
Broad shoulders,
Mm-hmm.
take a lot, be able to handle criticism,
Yeah.
be able to deal with things that most people don't want to deal with.
Yeah. I could see that for sure.
That's the thing about me and Jan. She's, of course, a retired fire chief.
Right.
I'm a retired police officer. We both have seen it all.
Mm-hmm.
There's nothing any of these people in this town can do that we haven't been involved in.
Right.
I mean, we've stepped over bodies.
Mm-hmm.
We've seen child abuse. We've seen good people do good things.
Absolutely.
It's not all doom and gloom,
Yeah.
but our job really is bottom line negative activity.
Right.
So if you can finish a career with that type of a career and move forward and do well, you've accomplished something, I think.
Yeah, very good. Can you share a pivotal moment that has influenced your professional trajectory?
You know, I'd go back again to Bobby Nelson.
Okay.
I was a police officer on the police department, doing my job, riding motorcycles, writing reports, fighting, making arrests, doing what you got to do as a police officer. And I think he really sent me in a new direction, looking at other opportunities for me. And I feel like I had the abilities. They were within me, and I think he's the one that brought them out. I really do. I got to give him all the blame and all the credit.
Yeah, you get one with the other for
Yep.
sure. What's something you used to believe that you don't anymore?
That's a tough one.
That is a tough one.
Well, no, it may not be that tough. I used to believe that mankind was all good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And through the course of my life, I found that mankind is not all good.
Right.
You do have evil, not just sickness, not drug-related things, not drunk, not evil. I'm talking evil people that do horrible things to children.
Yeah.
That's a pet peeve of mine. I can remember as a police officer going into a home at 2 a.m, domestic call. The wife's crying, beat up. The kid's crying in the bed or the couch. Dad's drunk on the couch because he got paid. When I got drunk and came home, and I remember seeing that. I can remember many times seeing those kids and thinking, what human being can abuse a child?
Yeah. Wow.
And that's the evil I'm talking about.
Yeah.
That's just pure evil.
Absolutely it is. Yeah, there's no reason that should ever happen.
Nope.
What is a failure or setback that taught you something important?
I got terminated from being the Cabell County Correctional Officer running our old county jail. Dallin Fields was the sheriff, and he hired me when he got elected. I helped him get elected.
Mm-hmm.
And I was running a good jail, clean, neat, painted it all, had it all operating very well. The state regional jail guy said our jail was the best jail in the state and doing very well. Unfortunately, Dallin got cancer and died. And the county commission appointed an old sheriff. I'm not even going to mention his name. I have no like for him. To come in for 3 months before a new elected sheriff would take over. and he immediately terminated me. And I asked him in his office as he handed me my letter, I said, "Why are you terminating me? There's no cause." And he looked at me and he said, "You work at the will and pleasure. I don't need calls."
Wow.
So I was out of a job.
Sure.
And that devastated me. I'd never been fired from a position in my life.
Yeah.
And I was doing a good job. I was told I was being a good job. But it was political, obviously.
Right.
The county commission didn't like the sheriff, so they appointed their sheriff, and their sheriff got rid of Dallon's appointments. It was very political. Sure. And that upset me quite a bit.
Yeah.
I spent about 4 or 5 months out of work. That was a horrible 4 or 5 months because I didn't have anything to do. I was wondering what the heck had happened to me, what was going on. I didn't deserve it. We all wonder about those things occasionally.
Oh, yeah.
I never got the answer. I didn't get the answer. I just moved on.
Yeah.
I put it away. It's in a drawer somewhere at my house. It's gone.
Yeah, it's done.
Yeah, I'm doing fine.
Like we talk about, the blood sport of this is rough sometimes.
Oh, it's tough.
What advice would you give your younger self?
I would say pay attention closer to what's really going on around you.
Yeah.
Things change constantly. Life is a cycle. I mean, I remember bell bottoms and belts that were 3 inches thick,
Yeah.
leisure suits,
Right.
turtlenecks, mock turtles. I don't know if any of you ever know those. It was a turtleneck and a little square here. You just put your shirt over it.
Yeah.
What a tacky thing! But I don't doubt they'll be back. I'm waiting for it. I hope I'm here when they
You're
do.
gonna bring them all out again.
But
Huh?
life is a cycle. I mean, pegged pants came in after bell bottoms.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I remember taking my jeans as a little kid and having them seamed up, and that's all I could do was get my foot through them.
What legacy do you want to leave behind through your final workings here?
I'm extremely proud of Summerfest. I think that is my signature.
Yeah.
That was a hard job. I loved it. I had a lot of help. But any organization takes a key person with the fire in the belly to make it go,
Right.
to see what's wrong or what didn't happen and correct it and make it happen. And as a police officer, I was a good police officer. I didn't go up through the ranks, although I jumped from being a police officer to the chief's assistant. And I actually was acting chief of police for 6 weeks. Dawn had open heart surgery, and I was appointed by the mayor as acting chief. So that was a proud moment for me, but it was a short moment.
Right.
But Summerfest was 14 years for me, and it ended up, when I left, it was just a phenomenal event. And my legacy, if I'd see Dan Ferguson on the wall, I would like to see police and Summerfest under it, and that's it. I just feel like those two things were something that I worked hard to do the best I could at.
Right. Which obviously makes you very proud.
It does.
Yeah. Yeah. What do you miss most about being an officer?
The minute you retire, you don't realize, as a police officer, you have a tremendous amount of power. Mm-hmm. I'm in charge of you. You may be the nicest guy in the world, but I'm in charge of you. Understand that. Right. If you start acting up, I'm going to arrest you. If you're good, I'm going to leave you alone. That's power.
Sure.
You use it to your best ability, obviously. You do the right things with it, but you're given a badge and a gun, and you're told to go get the bad guy.
Right.
And that's a very powerful thing.
Yeah, it's not for everybody.
When you retire, you've laid that badge and gun down.
Yeah.
You still carry a gun, you still carry a badge, but it says retired. But you don't have those police powers. When you're out in a restaurant and something happens, you really don't have the authority to do anything. Mm-hmm. But we do, because the cavalry comes and they know you're retired and everything's okay.
Absolutely. Yeah.
But you've lost that edge.
Sure.
And I'd say the most thing that I miss about being a police officer is the ability to react immediately.
Right.
Like when I'm driving now and I see a drunk on the side or a stoned out person, I want to deal with it, but
right.
I can't.
Yeah.
I have to pick the phone up go through the procedure they've created. What's the name of your firstborn? How much do you pay for stamps now?
Right.
I mean, it's unbelievable. They're doing their job.
Yeah.
But we've gotten so far away from, hey, we got a guy drunk, start the cavalry on the way. I'll give you all the information, but start them first. They want to do that. They want all this information before they do anything. That's their job. They're doing their job. Not being critical of them. I'm just saying it's the system that has changed.
Yeah, and that's what we've talked about.
Yeah.
Changes everywhere right
Yep.
now.
Yep.
Yeah.
But the power of being a police officer is the first thing you miss when you retire. All of them will tell you that. They may not admit it, but
Right.
that's what you miss.
Well, your mindset is programmed in that. Yeah.
Yeah.
How do you envision the future of this city?
With this mayor and the team he's established and council,
Yeah.
I see this city moving forward in a good light. I see the homeless issue being addressed. I see the sober living homes being addressed.
Mm-hmm.
I see the housing issue in the town being addressed. I see a lot of things on a positive note. As long as we can continue, it's not going to happen overnight. You got to realize, in my opinion, and Steve Williams was a friend of mine, and I like Steve, but I got to tell you, I don't understand the last 6-8 years how things were moving in whatever direction they moved in. But that's just my opinion.
Sure,
I'm sure there's other opinions out there.
Yeah.
But with this mayor and this team starting the transition, I think you're looking for, I would hope, another term. I don't know that I'll be here because I don't know about that, but I think this mayor is determined to make Huntington public safety,
Yeah.
infrastructure, and economic growth his main priority.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah. What do you think will be the big game changers in these upcoming years?
Cleaning the street up, I think, is the number one priority. Cleaning our town up so that people feel comfortable. People will come back to our city. I hear it all the time, especially running for mayor, and I hear it from a lot of my friends. They just don't go downtown.
Right.
You park, the first thing you get is hit from a panhandler wanting money, and they're aggressive.
Right.
Back in the day, a panhandler would come up and say, "Sir, do you have any spare change?" "No, I don't." "Thank you, sir." And that's the end of it. Now it's, "I need money. I'm hungry. I know you got money. Give me money." Mm-hmm. They're aggressive.
Much more aggressive.
And that offends people, especially females.
Well, it scares them too.
And look at Pullman, the parking garage. They lay in the parking garage, wait for somebody to park. I mean, we've got these issues all over town that we know about and we're addressing.
Yeah.
But one at a time, we're going to knock them down like shooting them ducks in a row.
Yeah.
We're taking them out the best we can, but it's going to be a process that we have to go through.
Yeah. Well, it took a lot of time to get here. It's going to take a lot of time to fix it.
Exactly right.
Yeah. So I'd like to ask you, what is a controversial opinion that you hold that you're willing to discuss?
Controversial opinion that I hold.
Yeah.
I'm filtering them out right now.
Okay.
I am confused about hiring a police officer,
Mm-hmm.
swearing him in, sending him out in the field, finding a violation, making an arrest, taking them to court, having a trial, finding them guilty, sentencing them to jail, and them not going to jail.
Yeah. That's rough.
Think about that process I just told you.
Yeah.
Now, I said as a police officer, I said as a magistrate judge.
Yeah.
I also ran a jail. I think I've been involved in all three of those.
Yeah, you've been on all the steps.
And I'm concerned and confused of why the public, elected officials, and lawmakers don't want people to pay for the crimes they commit.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And trust me, you put a person in jail for 10 days, they want them out in 2.
Yeah.
Because they don't want to pay the jail bill. So this person gets out in 2, goes right back and does the same thing because he doesn't care. There's no consequences.
Yeah.
You stick your finger over a fire, what do? You jerk it back and say, ouch.
Right.
You going to do it again?
No way.
No way.
Yeah.
You send a person to jail for the crime they committed. Due process. Let them serve that time.
Right.
They may think twice about doing it again.
Yeah, it's an accountability factor.
And counseling while they're in jail.
Right.
This is why did you do this? This is what happens if you do it again. This is what happens if you don't do it again.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's the most confusing part of me right now. I am very upset with the legal process.
Yeah.
I don't like it at all. It is not right. It's broken, and it needs fixed.
Yeah.
And I don't know if anybody will disagree with that.
No, I don't think so. And honestly, like what you said, who would know better than you? You've been in all the steps of it.
Every steps of it.
Right. Well, one thing that I know that's very dear to your heart that you have done such an outstanding job on is the Gold Star Monument. I'd like for you to talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, that's a proud moment also late in my life.
Yeah.
Woody Williams, I don't know your audience, I don't know how many of you have interacted with Woody, but if you spent 10 minutes with him, you left as a better person. He was truly a unique individual.
Right.
He's just like me and you. He puts his pants on every day. He eats. He does everything we do. Mm-hmm. But there was just something beating in him that made him very special, that changed a lot of people's lives.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, I got to know him about the last 4 years. He'd been to my house, been in my house. Unfortunately, he had a fall at the American Legion in 23, and he injured himself quite bad. He fell clear down to the basement. He thought he was going in the men's room, but he was going to the basement. It was just a mistake. And he got well, and he got out, and a friend of mine, Kim Wolf, and I had him at the memorial be 2 years ago today. And he was struggling, but he was up and around. We had him down there with his slingshot.
Yeah, yeah.
And after the event, we went up to my house. I live about 4 houses from the arch where the memorial takes place. And we were in my driveway having a conversation, Kim and Woody and I, and he looked up at me and he said, "Dan, I'd like to see a Gold Star Family's monument down by the arch." And I said, "Well, Mr. Williams, how do you do that?" And he pointed at me. He said, "Don't call me Mr. Williams. It makes me feel old." Come on, the guy was 98,
right.
And I was taught to respect my elders. But anyhow, it was Woody from now on. But I went back to work, and Kim was a magistrate, I was a magistrate, and we were talking one day, and I said, "Kim, why don't we try to make this happen?" So we put a committee together. I'm a member of another organization that took charge of it, and we went to the park board. They gave us the land and put a committee together and started raising money. Woody was told before he passed the next month, but he was told a committee was put together to try to put the monument up. And basically a committee of 8 of us got it done within 9 months, raised $150,000. Mm-hmm. I was there through all the process of it, and it's up and running with flags and landscaping, and the whole community jumped in and helped. Electric people, concrete people, landscape people, tree people, you name it. They all helped, and it got done and dedicated on October 2nd of 23, which was Woody's 100th birthday.
Yeah.
We had a huge dedication with I had Lee Greenwood's number in my phone, called Lee, and Lee came and sang his "God Bless America." We had J. Michael Smith sing. I had 2 Medal of Honor recipients on stage, Joe Manchin, our senator, Carol Miller, our congresswoman, plus the mayor, other dignitaries, and I was the master of ceremonies, and we had maybe 1,500 people in the field. The monument was covered, and it was the dedication of it. And boy, I had my hands full introducing all those people back and forth. Yeah. We had a parachuter come down with a huge American flag.
That was awesome. I remember that.
And then at one point we unveiled the monument, and we had Gold Star families there, and one at a time they came up, and the Blue Knights organization, which I'm a charter member of, handed yellow roses to each one of them to place on the monument. But in fact, they're down there right now getting ready for Monday's dedication.
Yeah.
We're doing mulch and weed eating and stuff like that. And I replaced all the flags last Saturday.
I saw that. Yeah, it looks
fresh
great.
flags. Yeah. But that's a proud moment. That was a lot, again, fire in the belly.
Yep.
I was determined, and we got it done.
Huge accomplishment. Yeah. I really enjoy that whole outfit now down there. Just everything is so uniformed and nice and militant, and you've done an outstanding job with that.
And we put the 3 flags on either side of the monument, all 6 branches of service with the new Space Force.
Yeah.
And, of course, you sponsoring your flag.
Yeah.
And
the Army flag. Yeah.
The Army flag. I'm sponsoring the Coast Guard flag. And all the flags are sponsored, and the people that are sponsoring, their names on the flagpole. It's a 2-year commitment. Every 2 years you can either renew or we'll get someone else. And that money goes just to replace the flags to keep them fresh.
Yeah.
But it's a beautiful sight. If you haven't seen the Woody Williams Monument down by the Memorial Arch, you need to go.
Absolutely. Do you foresee any future endeavors down there at all?
Well, yeah, I mean, there's some things, it's up to the park board. It's their land, it's their property. Right. I have suggested the arch has concrete in front of it. The monument has concrete in front of it. Both of them are going to the boulevard and 11th Avenue. Mm-hmm. I would like to see that connected on the sides so that it would make a walking circle, so to speak, where people could park. We'd put a 4-place parking pad for cars so they could get out and walk in a circle. We need to determine how many times around's a mile, how many times around's 2 miles, put a little board up, and I'd like to see that done. I'd also like to see 2 benches on either side on the outside of that walking path so that people could maybe eat their lunch and observe the arch and the monument. I would like to see that. Those are the things I'd like to see happen down the road if I could get that done. I know we can get it done. I just got to get the permission from the park to do it.
And I hope they'll follow suit with that because I think it's a phenomenal idea. We've talked about some of that many times, and what a testimony that would be to the men and women that are a part of all those monuments. And
Absolutely.
It would be the best, in my opinion, the best in the state as far as the way that would be set up.
Yeah. And one other thing down there, you got the arch at one end, which recognizes World War I.
Correct.
And then you got the Woody Williams Monument, which actually I would consider World War II.
Right.
That creates a field.
Sure does.
A military setting.
Yep.
And I would like to do a competition in the city of Huntington or the community to name that field. Our organization, Southside Alliance, would put up $500 to a winner. We'd run about a 4-week, send your name, what you want to name it, your name, and we pick a winner. Mm-hmm. I don't want it to be after a person. I feel like the field needs to be honor field, field of honor, military field, or something tricky, not necessarily a person, but and I'd like to see that named with some nice signage. And I think that with the walk path, the benches, I think that brings that area full circle to where it really needs to be. That's my opinion.
Oh, I love it. Yeah, I agree 100%. And obviously, anything I could do to help, I would obviously be behind that 100%. Lighten things up just a little bit. A lot of people have, she sheds and man caves and things like that. You have something a little different called a bomb shelter. Talk a little bit about that.
Well, I have 2 houses there by the arch. I live in the house that we built for my mom when my dad passed, and when she passed, my wife and I moved in it. We lived next door in a house that was built in the 30s. Dr. Guthrie actually lived there. Dr. Guthrie was the doctor at Guthrie Hospital, which was at 6th Street and 6th Avenue at one time. Yeah. And I grew up across the street, played his son, my son, and me, where we were the same age, so I was very familiar with that house. And I was living with Mom, and I came home on midnight shift one night to eat lunch, and I saw a for sale sign in the yard. So my wife and I now were dating at the time, and so we bought it. And I played in that thing when I was young, and there's a room out back that was built by Dr. Guthrie in the 60s. Mm-hmm. And it was built because of the Cuban crisis when Castro pointed all the missiles toward the United States. Yeah. The missiles carried fallout material. Fallout travels in one area, and it will not penetrate lead. Well, when he built this building, he built it on 2x6s, not 2x4s, on 12-inch centers, not 16-inch centers, and he put quarter-inch lead on the inside all the way around. He put a pump in there, air pump. He built closets for his two sons. He lived on both sides with a bathroom in the middle, and he put closets in the corners for their clothes, and then the drawers he had rationed food that would last forever. So, and he had panels to go over the windows with lead in them, lead in the door. So this entire room would be tight, air-free, and you'd turn that pump 200 times an hour to freshen the air. So he was pretty much wanting to live forever. But I tell you, when we bought that house, I've remodeled quite a bit, but that room will be there when the rest of Huntington's gone.
Yeah,
I mean, you can bang on the walls, it's like hitting concrete. It's unbelievable. That's why we call it the bomb shelter. You can heat it with a match in the winter, and in the summer it doesn't get hot. I mean, it's just unbelievable the way it is. But yeah, and I started working on things. I'm a keeper. I'm a novelty guy. I keep stuff. I buy stuff. I save stuff. And I just started pinning stuff on the walls and putting a few TVs up, and it's evolved. You've been there. You've seen it.
Yeah.
It's a pretty handy little room.
It is.
If you've got any problems, you go in that room. When you leave, your problems are solved.
That's a fact. Now, there's been some pretty famous people in there. Do you care to name some of them?
Well, I've had Muhammad Ali in there.
Yeah.
Lee Greenwood was in there. Joe Manchin was in there. But those are probably the heaviest hitters.
Yeah, that's pretty big time, even for one of those. Yeah.
I had Muhammad Ali in here in 85 and 86 for the Golden Gloves, which our FOP used to do. And we hired him to come in to promote Golden Gloves, and he, of course, was at the fights and saw the kids, signed autographs. And one year, Buster Douglas out of Columbus, who was the reigning champ, we had both of them in here. And I had both of them in the ring at one time.
Wow.
That was a heck of a show.
Yeah.
And the thing about Muhammad was he liked to eat, and the promoter that brought him in was a friend of mine. He said, Muhammad wants a good cooked meal. I said, well, Mom can cook some meal. What's he want? He wanted fried chicken, mashed potatoes, and green beans. So I had him at the house both years for dinner. And he's a funny guy. He's a big man.
Yeah.
I stood between Buster and him, and I put my hands on their forearms, and I couldn't bend my hands. My hands wouldn't bend.
Right.
And they just towered over me. They're just huge human beings. They don't look like it by themselves in a picture, but my gosh, they're big men, and they take a beating. But yeah, he was really a unique person. And now I would have bought Everlast gloves and had him sign them with me hugging him.
Yeah.
But I didn't. I had him sign some pictures. I got pictures of him holding my daughter, who's 34 now. She was 8 months old, in his arms. I have pictures of him in the house eating dinner. I got a video of him leaving, and when he gets to the outside the front door and I'm backing up, he points at me. He says, "I'll be back," like Arnold Schwarzenegger said. But yeah, he was a unique one. Yeah.
Well, some awesome memories there. Obviously, you've told a lot of great history, a lot of great things. Is there anything else you'd like for the general public to know or hear about?
Yes, there is. I would like the public to know that I would like to see the public give this administration the opportunity to do what we want to do. If you do that, if you support us, if you help us and back us, we promise you that you will see a difference. We promise you that you will like Huntington. We promise you will feel better about living here and being a Huntingtonian. We're on a mission. We have an agenda.
Yeah. And
we're going to see to it gets done. The right people are in the right place, I think.
I agree.
And I just would like to see the general public support us.
Well, that's outstanding. I love to hear that. We appreciate you coming on the show. Come back anytime. Love to have you.
I don't know to have any more stories. It'll take a couple of years. I may be back. Thanks for having me. I do appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you.